What is going on, MSR community? We are here on a Thursday night, man, coming to you live with the Portland's playoff preview, man. It's just a podcast. Me and Groovy, my guy, are going to be talking about the playoffs coming in MSR 66. There's a lot of great matchups. I'm super enticed with this upcoming postseason, and I know Groovy is as well. So we're just going to lay out some groundwork and something that I definitely want to take maybe into the next cycle, just, providing a lot more foundation to the league, some more insight, that sort of thing. So we're going to try to keep it as brief as possible. Obviously, pods, man, you know how it goes. For the first matchup, Groovy, right? We've got you versus Hoff or A1, right? So A1 is still yet to play Timbo in week 18. And he's winning in. Hoff just lost to Slip in week 18. Slip kept his bye week, his number one seed. So he will be sitting out that first round of playoffs. But Hoff is sitting in the 7th seed with A1 hot on his tail. I want to talk about first, what do you think the odds are that A1 comes away with the win versus Timbo in week 18 and seals a playoff spot in Denver?
First I'll say, what up, y'all? How you doing? How you feeling?
Yeah.
But honestly, I'd say the odds are pretty good. A1's kind of like the tail of this game is really kind of 180. Like when they first matched up week 15, I think it was, Timbo was the one more of a commanding wild card spot. And it wasn't until that loss to A1, and then A1 kind of took that momentum from that game and ran with it, won two more games, beating Chaz and I think the Browns. I think it was someone else, basically setting himself up to get into this winning position now. And then on the opposite side, Timbo obviously started out the division leader, really rolling. Lost his first matchup to Doc, and that kind of really took the sail out of his wins. But he was still good. Like I think he was 6-2 at the time, so still kind of coasting, had wild card locked in as long as he kind of kept it together. But kind of the wheels kind of fell off from under him in terms of the season. He obviously the schedule got harder in the second half too. He had to play me. He had to play Doc again. Had to play A1. Had to play Browns too, I think it was. But yeah, like he lost his momentum and then set up the game now where A1 can take it from him. And then the past two seasons, I think A1 has won all the matchups they had so far. Like even in the down year that A1 had last year, he was still able to win both of those and sweep him. They've been in division all cycle together, so this is going to be what, game 12 together at this point, or 14. So they've been playing so much that it can be anyone's game. But the hot hands definitely A1, so I definitely put my money on the A1 if I had to.
Yeah, so I mean, on the other side of things, I mean, that would be your matchup. And just to kind of talk about your team statistically, you're first in points allowed in the entire league. You're top three in interceptions, and you're second in fumble recoveries. So definitely a team that likes to take the ball away from you.
Yep.
Great defense on that side of the ball. Obviously, you can do your thing offensively. Just speak to, I mean, talk about both, right? Just
Both scenarios,
Hoff
yep.
as a player and A1. I mean, A1, just to kind of add onto his storyline, I think he's playing really good ball, like you said. I mean, you kind of hit all the points. I think his run game has really allowed him to win a lot of games these past few weeks, relying on Alfonso Gibson, who has just been a workhorse out of the backfield. He's 94 speed. So I think when he gets the run game, I mean, you see him in the streams. When he's running the ball well, he feels like he can't be stopped. So that's something Timbo's going to have to do, and that's something potentially you're going to have to do if he ends up taking that spot. But just talk about how you feel going into these playoffs as the number 2 seed. Obviously, we talked about how good your defense is, and just speak to the matchups that you're potentially in front of you.
Yeah, I could do that. So I played both of them, whether it was Hoff or A1 this season. Won both pretty commandingly. Really, defense was the tail of tape in both of those, kind of like you were saying. This personnel unit's wild, honestly. Kind of got speed everywhere, got abilities everywhere, just because the luck of the draw this year. So yeah, and I'm feeling pumped. I mean, I like myself versus anybody, that's for sure. Only person really that I can't say that confidently against is Slip. I mean, I still like myself against Slip, but just being realistic, I can't
Got
say
to get
that.
him this
Yeah,
year, man. Got to get him this year.
yeah. No, we gonna get to that. We gonna get to that for sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
not like I need that one. But I mean, honestly, that being said, you know how Madden is, ebbs and flows sometimes. How the game starts. I know that A1 last time he was in the playoffs, he had a 17-point lead on Hoff, and was looking like he could be in the driver's seat and really show why he made that playoff run, why he won the division that year. But then Hoff just got hot and just caught momentum from 17. I think final score was like 35-17. So like going from giving up 17 to 35 unanswered, you're a threat whenever you can do that. Um, that team, Nasty, I think he's tied with me for the highest overall team in the league too. So obviously the roster's not an excuse in that point; it just straight sticks. Me and Hoff played a decent bit of times. I've had his number this whole cycle. I don't think he's beat me yet, so keep that one going. Hopefully, but he people call him the luckiest user in MSR for a reason. So we gonna see regardless. He does have a Super Bowl appearance too, so he's put it together enough to make a run. So we're gonna see if he gets locked in and do that. And then A1 on the other side. I know he wants to get back on that one just because I think in our matchup I scored like 60, and the direct DM after the game was, "Hey, we're not cool no more, bro. Like, what the hell was that?" So if he gets the opportunity, he's gonna do the same. Um, I think I had a good game plan then. I'm gonna bring that into this joint. So if A1 adapts, then you're good, or then we can maybe see what kind of ball we're gonna do. But kind of like you said, game plan with A1 is always gonna be that if he gets that run game going, and more specifically, like he's a defensive guy. So if he gets that user going, he gets a lurk or two on you, he gonna really get that confidence, and that A1 you see in the streams comes out, and from
Yeah.
there he's chucking up to Brazzle. If Brazzle starts doing some crazy shit too, and anything can happen. So yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it should be good hoops for sure, but I like me always.
Yeah, I mean, you've been hot. I think you're obviously the clear favorite in either of those matchups. Just speaking to the Ravens, I mean, I think you mentioned he's the same overall
Yeah, yeah,
as you. So I mean, going through his team, I mean, it's full of 99s. It's full of
yeah,
speed. You've got Jackson Dart at quarterback. You've got Jameer Gibbs at running back. You've got Josh Matlock, who's a 91 speed or 99 speed receiver, excuse me. Some incredible tight ends, and then defensively, it's just a 299 edge rushers, a 97 DT. I mean, these teams are loaded going into this final season playoff push. So it should be interesting. Yeah, I would agree that you'd definitely be the favorite there. And I think just with the head to head matchups that I think you should have the leg up on those guys, but you really never know
yeah, yeah,
in MSR and in Madden. So moving on to the
for
next
sure.
matchup in the AFC, it's going to be the number 3 seed versus the number 6 seed. It's Salmon versus Mo, Bills versus Browns. The Bills are top 5 in passing and rushing offense, so they've been extremely successful on the offensive side of things, but as well
Yeah,
as pairing that with number 1 in the league in sacks with 46 across the entire league. So great rushing attack, great passing attack, and they can also get to your quarterback on the defensive side of the ball.
yeah.
Speak to that matchup a little bit and what you think.
Yeah, I mean, and the one thing I will say, like you were saying, top five about rushing and passing, but more importantly, just broke the single cycle scoring record, scoring 82 points against Tyler just to drop his nuts on him one more time for because
Yeah.
I know that Tyler got a little confidence for winning the division. I think it was season 5 and 6. So I know Salmon came back, had to show him who was boss. And he liked that one, but he's been clinched since week I think 12 or something like that. So he's been chilling. Um, the Salmon and Emo actually played earlier this year, and Emo was the one who got the win on him, and that ended up being a pivotal win for him to make the playoffs. Now he's now locked. He played against Red just now, and actually I got to give him props because I was watching that game, and Red had him up. Red was up 3 with like 30 seconds left. He was able to go up, drive him, get down the field, kick a field goal, force OT, and then Red gets the ball to start OT, drives down the field. About 2 minutes left. He's at 4th and 10. Red decides to go for a fake field goal, get the touchdown, and then Emo proceeds to drive down the field with like a minute and a half left. And he, like, crazy to me, he scored the touchdown with 2 seconds left and then kicks the field goal. So takes the tie because that
Yeah.
guaranteed him the spot. Because if you think about it, since now he's now
Oh,
10
so he
6 and
just a
1.
draw.
Yeah, he took the draw because
Wow.
he's 10 6 and 1. And he knew that um, since A1 is 9 and 6, there's no way that he could beat his record at 10 or 10, 10 5 and 1. So that guaranteed that playoff spot. So now because of that, it's A1 and Hoff battling. Because if Emo would have lost that game, then there's a scenario where A1 could win, and then Hoff would have took that step, and he would have been out the playoffs. So, like I said, big brain by him, earned that game, and now he gets to show if he can do it against Salmon. I mean, when Salmon does decide to load up, obviously you got to worry about everything. The full field. We saw in his showdown game, earlier this season. Anthony Richardson can throw the ball 90 yards down the field. So when you got a normal dev QB that can do some crazy shit like that, that's scary to play, especially when you got two fast, deep out, elite receivers. So obviously, same with Mahomes. So I've been playing him for years, and the biggest thing with him, people think he's just a chug it deep type of guy, but if he really gets methodical, that's when you got to worry about him because he's always looking to chug it deep. But if he is willing to take the check downs and really do his thing, which he is in the playoffs, like he's not stupid. He's getting in the playoffs, and then he's going to do is he's doing whatever it takes to win. So that number one in sacks gonna help him too. But Emo on the other side, I'll just talk to him real quick. He put an impressive season together, winning some important games in the AFC to be able to get into place where he lock in this wild card spot now. His biggest thing, Bijan, he gonna live and die by that run game. But he has a couple good plays. He can throw some dots on you. Tremaine Allen got a cannon. Puka Nakua still been over there. Hoppa made a crazy team and on the Browns. I know he's just complaining about defense still being ass. I know we all say that. But the reality is when you're playing Salmon is who can score more. So if it becomes a shootout, who's got more ammo? It's probably Salmon, but you never know. Sometimes when you're gunslinging like that, you misfire, throw a pick six, something like that. So it can be anyone's game. I'd say that.
Yeah, you spoke to it earlier. I think I just with Salmon when he becomes methodical. I think he's grown a lot this season. Incorporating the run game has really helped him. I think his offense is looking really really solid, and I really like this matchup. This is one of my early favorites for the entire first round.
Yep.
I think this is a complete toss up. I lost personally to the Browns and Amo. He's a tough user. He's super. He he'll give Salmon a run for sure as a user coming in as a higher seed if he's not locked in completely. Bijan Robinson is just an absolute tank. And with no usage or anything like that to worry about in the playoffs, I think he's gonna be a workhorse for him in that first round. I think one potential weakness for the Browns is the receiving core outside of Puka Nakua.
Mhm.
Puka Nakua is obviously a great receiver. He relies on him pretty heavily, but
Yep.
outside of that, he's got some smaller, faster guys and lower overall kind of younger guys. So if you can take away Puka Nakua, that could potentially be advantageous for Salmon going into that one. But that's a matchup that I'm really looking forward to watching. Obviously, you said that that Emo got the better of him earlier in the season.
Yep.
So that'll be super interesting. Round one matchup between those guys in the AFC. Now moving on, we've got Doc versus Smooth. So Smooth versus
Yep.
the number 4 seed and the number 5 seed going at it in round one. The Chargers are right behind the Bills, number 2 in sacks in the entire league. They've got 45
Didn't know.
tallied on the year. And then Smooth is top 3 in points allowed and top 4 in interceptions with 32. So Smooth, I'll quickly say his defense is one of the better in MSR. I think
Mhm.
he plays offensively knowing that he's got a good defense. He's confident in his defense.
Sure.
He plays super methodical, as we said earlier about if Salmon can kind of do that. But Smooth is a super slow paced player and really relies on that defense. He's confident in his defense. And then Doc, being able to kind of counteract that, find holes in the defense of the Titans, and then also get to the quarterback. That'll be really interesting. Talk about this matchup, man. This should be a good one as well.
Yeah, and I mean, like, hey, AFC Championship potential right here in the wild card round. Um,
Yeah.
play both these guys too this season. Everyone knows Doc got a crazy style. Tremaine, no, Trent Truman, that's his name. Trent Truman, the
Yeah.
quarterback he got is the truth. He be doing some crazy shit. Really got to worry about all aspects of the field when you're playing him, but hasn't really developed as much as a passer. So it's really 50-50 on if his guys are going to hoop for him and really make those 50-50 grabs, or if those are going to turn into interceptions. Just because we've seen with Smooth, he's been on showdown countless times also this season. And if you let his defense start cooking, that's when you really got to worry about him. But at the same time, even if he's down in a game, you got to worry about him because he's a second half player. He's going to make his adjustments. He's going to see the coverage. You can't keep calling the same coverage against him. You're going to figure him out and dot you up. The only downside to Smooth's game, crazy enough, because that was really what built his cycle to start when he got in here was trading for Lamar, just because for whatever reason, I'm a Lamar fan. I don't think this is very sim, but they just like Madden just stops Lamar from being able to kind of be like the know all be all quarterback. Like sometimes he'll just sell one throw, whether it's his abilities or just his throw power, maybe him aging a little bit. But just yeah, sometimes if the game can get down to one possession, sometimes it's like you're playing with fire on whether this like a
Yeah,
throw could easily become an interception or not. So
hundred percent.
and Doc's good at that too. Doc's good at adjusting. He's not just a guy that's going to call his cookie cutter coverages. He's going to mess around. And both these guys are really good at adjustment. So this is going to be a chess match for sure. But it's a chess match with both of them having the fastest QBs in the league, damn near. So you're going to see some crazy plays. We're going to have to get that one on Showdown for sure. But who
Yeah,
can win this one? I generally have no idea. I'll be honest.
it's just kind of a tale of two tapes when you talk about the quarterbacks. Like I didn't even feel like mentioning Lamar because he's just not the factor that we think Lamar
Yep.
would be. Especially with Smooth, he doesn't use him as much as a runner.
Yep.
So he kind of just plays a classic quarterback play with him. And as you mentioned, Madden has some sort of issue with Lamar and his throwing abilities. For some reason, he just doesn't get the better of that when it comes to Madden. So that'll be really interesting though to see if Smooth switches things up and finally kind of uses that speed out of the backfield. But on the other side of things, you're looking at Doc, who just absolutely prides on the quarterback speed, the quarterback run game. He talked about it on A1's pod, just how much he likes having a dual threat quarterback. So he's got his guy and he's having a lot of fun with him throughout the regular season. We'll see if it results to wins in the postseason.
Yep.
That's kind of the big thing to see if defenses can figure out that backfield, that quarterback run game, that unique style of offense in the postseason, and if they can shut it down or if he has answers for it as well. Once again, I think this is a tough one. This is another kind of toss up. There, I wouldn't say there's a heavy favorite in this one, which again is kind of why we're here on this podcast. I feel like there's just a lot of matchups that could go either way,
Yep.
and that's going to be super exciting in this final season. So that's it for the AFC. That's it for the AFC. Quickly, kind of moving on to the NFC side of things. You've got TJ and the Giants. He's going to be the number one seed. We could talk quickly about him and Slip right now, just about how dominant they've been. Slip is undefeated in the regular season. He's 17-0. He just beat Hoff, which was a big win when Hoff was really trying to get enforce his playoff spot. So TJ and Slip will be sitting out around one. TJ obviously on a heater as well. He locked up the one seed and then pretty much took some sims. So because he doesn't want to play the game
Yeah.
more than he has to. So he's gonna sit at 14-3 going into the playoffs, but he's been absolutely dialed in this season. Like just kind of talk about each of those number one seeds and kind of how dominant they've been.
Yeah, I can do that. I mean, obviously, Slip speaks for himself, undefeated for the second regular season in a row. So
Yeah.
when you can do that, I mean, there's not much more to say.
Filthy.
And then TJ, I mean, getting back into the swing because he won the first three seasons. I don't know if he was the one seed in all of those seasons, but he's shown that he can win. Took a break a little bit because he got bored a little bit, it seems like, and I tried to lock in one
Yeah.
more time. But the tail of that tape is the only person that really's been able to get under his skin is Taco. So and Taco just
Mhm.
kind of barely kind of slipped in the playoffs. Witness had a shot, maybe taking his place. He's not locked in Madden yet, so we don't know if maybe it could home and he misses the playoffs somehow. But if that happens, that's the only really person that's been in TJ's way. So then it's his to lose at that point, and someone's got to prove they can beat him. But he is beatable end of the day. So that's the thing you got
Yeah.
to think about that. Slip in the same sense, he is beatable also. He just a lot less examples of it, but we've seen it for sure. But not both definitely earn their one seeds. And yeah, so like whoever they got to
Yeah.
play whenever whoever comes out of that wild card round, it's either going to be one of the wild card teams or Sam or Doc in the AFC, and it's going to be one of the wild card teams or Taco. So I know that TJ is definitely praying for no wild card, or at least one of the wild card teams to win, so we can delay that a little
Yeah.
bit. But
I was just about to say, if we're assuming Taco has that number 4 seed and that division
yep.
locked up, then there is a real possibility that that is going to be his opponent coming out of the bye week. So that would be really interesting, kind of his quote unquote kryptonite going into that. But NFC, kind of walking through here, we've got the number 2 seed versus the number 7 seed. That'll be me
hmm
versus DG or Witness, depending on these
or
upcoming
Hanky, I think too.
matchups.
I think there's three because
Yeah,
NFC is a little weird. It's like if Hanky wins, he's 6. If Hanky loses, Witness wins. Witness is 7, and the DG 6. And then if Hanky loses, Witness loses, DG 6, Hanky 7. So you have 3 potentials
yeah.
there. Have you played Hanky this year so far? I don't.
I have not played Hanky. I think I only mentioned DG and Witness in the 7 spot
Mhm.
because I'm assuming that Witness is gonna win his game versus Loaded. And that's
That,
no offense.
that's
There's
the
no offense to him, but I just think a guy that's trying to earn a playoff spot
yep,
will either get some sort of force out of that, or if they play, I think he'll have the upper leg on that one. So if Witness wins, it either puts him in the
the
7
7. Yep,
spot or and that would be if Hanky loses. So
yep,
DG's locked in at 6 or 7. If you guys didn't know, he's locked in the playoffs.
yep.
Um,
After a good win
so
against
it
Ed last night.
after a really big win, and then Hanky, obviously you mentioned if he wins, he's going to be the 6 seed.
Mhm.
So he will if he takes on Diesel in a potential
Yep.
showdown coming up Friday
Yeah.
night. So that's another huge playoff implication game. It's a win and in for him. If he wins, he gets a 6 seed. That'll push DG to the 7 seed. So I'm kind of assuming I'm either playing DG or Witness because if Hanky wins, he's in the 6. If he
Yep.
loses, I'm assuming he's going to fall out because
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just
possible.
kind of just thinking that Witness is going to
Yeah.
slide in there at the 7 spot. So kind of talking about my team quickly. I mean, we're the worst pass defense in the league, and by a significant margin statistically. So
Yep.
we have some stuff to figure out on that side of the ball. But we're number 2 in rush defense. So,
Okay.
I mean, we're giving our opponents a clear way to attack us. Just with being 2 ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I mean, we give up a lot of passing yards, but at least we shut the run down and we make you pass. We'll see if we can find some answers in the secondary, find some answers in the passing game. Getting more takeaways. I didn't get a lot of interceptions this year, so defensively hasn't been the greatest, but obviously offensively we're first in points per game,
Yep.
and we have the number 1 running back in the league. So offensively, it hasn't been perfect, but we've had a lot of style changes throughout
Yep.
the year. Um, but we're feeling pretty good going in. I think we found a lot of things out with some losses in the back end of the season.
Yeah.
Going into the playoffs, I think we have things pretty settled offensively, and now defense just has to find a way to get some takeaways and help our boys out. But talking about the Packers real quick, they're top 4 in sacks. They've got 38 on
Yep.
the year, and they as well are not a super takeaway heavy defense. They don't get a lot of takeaways. They're the lowest in fumble recoveries and also bottom of
Didn't
the
know that.
league in interceptions. So it would be a offensive match me and DG have played, and
Mhm.
those games are usually fireworks. So it's a lot of offense, not a lot of defense. So it'd be a fun matchup if that were to go down. But just you can go ahead and talk about what you think going into this one.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. One thing I will say, yeah, you've been hooping this year for sure. I think the L's that you took later in the season are probably good for you, just because sometimes it's not good to just not know what your flaws can be. But in
Right.
terms of your um matching up against both Witness and DG, I know you'll definitely match up well against Witness because he's not the biggest passer. He's really going to rely on Kenneth Walker and trying to establish that run game. Still has 2 crazy edges in Atlanta, so really going to try and tee off and get to use the fact that you have Jaden Blue going crazy like he is. That's going to make him have to stay honest from a D line standpoint. So definitely doesn't match up well against you. On the opposite side, DG, I mean, his team's crazy. He's really figured out the game to the point where if he can get the run game going if he needs to. So if your run D isn't working out well, that's going to make it even a longer game. But from a passing standpoint, he can pass the ball. That can also get him into trouble sometimes, and he knows that. So he tries to stay balanced. So it's really just a matter of can he keep that balance for as long? Because when you're in a shootout, eventually you're going to have to drop back and sling that joint. So whether he can keep doing that, I know that the game that y'all played against each other, it came down to him in the red zone, his guy not catching it, and then you end up getting the win because of that. If a similar scenario happened, who knows? But if it gets to that point, then that's probably as good as he can ask for when he's playing against damn near the best offense in the league.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've kind of covered that one. I think if it comes down to me and DG, it could really be a toss up. He beat me at the start of this year. I think it was week
Mm-hmm.
2.
Yep.
He got the better of me. It wasn't my best game, but obviously you could say that about every loss. So
Yep.
that would be I guess he would be favored kind of going into that one since he took me
Oh,
down
yeah.
earlier in the season. But then you've got Witness if he slides into the 7 spot. I mean, we just played here in week 17, and that was
I think it was Belt,
a
right? It
good
was Belt.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was a good win for the Niners. So if that falls into fruition, then I think that could be one of the games where you keep off Showdown, but you can't take anyone lightly.
Yeah, for
It,
sure.
it's the playoffs. It's Madden. You never know how things go. I
Yep.
played really well against them this past week. So if I come out and I shit the bed, then I'm going to be fighting for my life. So
Yep.
it's really it'll come down to that. I like myself against Witness. I think DG it'll be a toss up. So moving on, we've got Eduardo. He's back, man. He's doing his thing.
Yep.
I think these last few weeks maybe he's getting burnt out again, but yeah, I think once we come around to playoffs, he'll be locked in. He's the number 3 seed in the NFC,
Yep.
and he will be taking on. We've already kind of mentioned how things will fall at the 6 or 7 spot in the NFC. He's going to be taking on Hanky if he wins versus Diesel
Yep.
or DG. So that DG would slide up to the 6th spot if Hanky loses. So those matchups, I mean, Ed, you're talking about the number 1 offense in the league and, number 1 in first downs by a wide margin and number 1 in passing touchdowns with 64 passing touchdowns. So, I mean, he is electric offensively. He's been extremely good on that side of the ball. A fun team to watch, just super explosive. And then we've kind of talked about DG, Hanky on the other side of things. If you want to speak to him and what he brings to the postseason push here in MSR 66.
Yeah, I can do it. Yeah. Hanky kind of got himself together last year. It was definitely a rough season for him. I think he ended up like 4-13 or something like that, something crazy. But it's definitely not signifying of him and his game. Got JD for a second cycle in a row, and just been showing like he's really evolved as a passer. So I will say if the matchup is Hanky versus Ed, that joint's going to be fireworks. It's going to be like I think in every game they played in the past 2 cycles, the over under total has been nothing under 100. So they gonna go back and forth and just sling that joint. No defense will be played in that game whatsoever. If it's
Yeah.
not a touchdown going the other way. But that being said, I always say this when people play, it's like the way to beat Hanky is to get him to start throwing picks, and then it can really kind of snowball for him. If you try to get into a shootout with him and just go band for band, he's got the receivers to do it. He's got JD to do it. And he got the plays to do it. So when you look at it from that standpoint, I mean, I'd like Hanky in that situation, but on the other side, Ed's Ed. He's been playing the same way for the past however many 5 cycles he's been here, or whatever it is, and same formula. People know it to a T. They still can't stop it. So, well, when he's locked in, at least. So, Hanky has been one of the few people that can not necessarily stop it, but he can just go against his defense and go crazy. So, if it becomes that kind of shootout, who's going to make that mistake first? They're both, young bulls. So sometimes, you fuck around and crash out, and then that can spiral a game. But they're both. I mean, I wouldn't know who to pick in that one for sure. And then going on the other side, if it ended up being DG versus
DG.
Ed,
Yep.
that's a matchup or a rematch of the same game they just played last week. I know them two they're really the only 2 people going back and forth all cycle at who had a chance of winning the NFC North. Diesel had a rough year, then Bears was a revolving door for a little bit until Loaded got there. So they played plenty of times. They know each other's styles. I think that shows in the Week 18 matchup they just had, where what's it called, where DG was able to win.
Right.
Cycle count, I think Ed has the one up on him, but lately it's been a lot more 50-50. So it's gonna come down to who gonna really lock in and just show that, like, all them other games there was regular season. When it comes down to the marbles, I know this dude, and I'm gonna clamp him and do my thing. I know that's how Ed feeling. DG on the same side, because like last season, I think that was the beginning of his playoff success. He was able to beat Rusty commandingly. Ended up losing to him this past season, the regular season, but he can show that guys that he typically would lose to, he can find a way to win against, and that's all you need when it comes to playoffs. Like, you can get, if you can get an upset or two, and you get into a good situation, maybe a ball bounces your way. That's all it takes to make a run sometimes. So that, like, this one could be a good catapult for who might have a shot at making the NFC Championship, just because of how the seeding works out. But yeah, man, we're gonna see.
Yeah, I really like that matchup if it were to fall to Ed and DG.
Yeah,
Just kind
definitely.
of just how interesting it is coming off a week 18 game, and then having to play the directly the week after. That would be really fun. And as you said, Hanky and Ed are pretty similar in terms of just their
Yep.
offensive firepower. So that would be fireworks if they were to match up. So another kind of that playoff scenario, however it falls, it should be a good matchup no matter what, between those three, whoever it may be. And then, falling down the list to our last matchup in the NFC, we've got the number 4 seed Taco,
Hmm.
barring Madden completely screwing him,
Yep.
in the 4 seed versus Rusty. And this is locked in. So Rusty's the 5 seed, and Taco, we're assuming, is going to be the 4 seed, and win his division. So that's a super interesting matchup. Taco's Taco and his Buccaneers, but just to kind of talk about his defense, super takeaway driven. They lead the league in fumble recoveries with 18, and they're second in interceptions with 35. So they really get the ball away from offenses, and predicates a lot of his wins off, taking the ball away, from offenses. And then Rusty on the other side of things, I think he's playing extremely good ball right now.
Yep.
He's in the same division as TJ. So he's going to go into the playoffs sitting at 13-4, or excuse me, 14-3,
Yep.
going into the playoffs with those Eagles. And he's playing really good ball. We just saw him on Showdown. He beat DG pretty commandingly.
Yep.
And I was very impressed with this style of play. I think he's grown a lot, and I think he's playing really good ball. He's second in the league in passing and points per game. He's averaging almost 45 points a game. And then he's third in rushing touchdowns with 37. He's also got one of the MVP frontrunners in Cam Ward over there in
Yep.
Philadelphia. He's under center. He's got almost 6,000 yards on the year, 71% completion percentage, 59,602, or sorry, 5,962, excuse me, yards on the year passing, and 52 touchdowns. So he has been absolutely airing it out with Cam Ward. And you saw in the showdown, if you guys were watching, I mean, he was able to dissect DG's defense very well, making good reads, calling good plays, that sort of thing. So I like what he's bringing into the postseason, but he goes up against a very, very solidified user,
Yeah.
postseason user in Taco, who's been to what I think 3 straight Super Bowls now. So
Yep.
talk about that matchup. That's another one on my list as one to watch, and one that'll be super, super good in that
Yep.
first week in the wild card round.
Yeah, not totally. To tail the tape, I mean, like you said, Rusty's been hooping. If not for you or Salmon, I think he would have been the top passing offense. So he's able to really been locked in with second year with Cam Ward, and yeah, just been able to sling it and do his thing. He missed Saquon a little bit to be in the season, but then rookie running back Mike Oliver has stepped in, got
Yep.
superstar middle of the season or something like that. So he's been able to really fill the void and close that gap that he had when Saquon was gone. So that makes his offense complete now. So then from there, has a crazy D line still. Did a good job of keeping all the Eagles together. So a lot of those base guys, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Jihad, all of them are still there. So that makes for a stacked defense if you've been in the same group for this long. But on the other side, just, I mean, arguably, user of the cycle, if not for TJ, is Taco, and he's been doing it
Yep.
just off straight vibes, just kind of doing his thing. Picked the fat quarterback and just turned him into a generational quarterback. Um, had a weird season this season because he took a couple of hits because of usage where he had to take some user suspensions, and because of that, put him in the situation he is now where he could potentially get hoed by Madden and be out of the playoffs. But I think the way it's because he's swept, or not because he swept, because he has the one up on a witness in terms of division record, he should get that one. But I mean, yeah, like one thing I will say about Taco, he's really good at just dissecting the middle of the field really well. Like I like to predicate myself on stopping that really well, and he just was still finding ways to kind of go attack me any which way. So it's hard to get at him when you haven't messed with the QB's rhythm. Like obviously, Blanton's 300 pounds, can't really move around. So if you can get the
Yeah,
pass rush going, which Rusty has the pass rush to do it, he can make it a rough
definitely
game
does.
for him. But if Taco's Taco and the vibes are vibing, it's really like I don't know. It's because I tell people most people have a game plan how you can stop him, but Taco there's really none. You literally just have to load up, hoop, and just hope for the best. And so
Yeah.
that's how it's going to be. I don't know about the last time they matched up, but last time they matched up in the playoffs, I know it was NFC Championship. Taco famously could have went for a touchdown, kicked a field goal instead, let it go to overtime, and then Guap dropped him in overtime, went for two, got the win. That's what got him that first ring of this cycle. So I know Rusty probably still mad about that, and wants that one back. But yeah, we're gonna see. Because like I said, I've seen from Taco, he says he's not as locked in, but in reality, if you would have asked anyone, is Taco locked in at any point in the cycle, they probably would have said no, and he's still been doing what he's doing. So yeah, that really don't matter.
Yeah, that's so true, and I think that's going to be a really good matchup. The favorite kind of goes to just the more experience with Taco
Yeah,
in the
probably.
postseason, the deeper runs. Obviously, you said what you said about him being one of the best users this entire cycle behind TJ, who just had a better start. But
Yeah,
Taco's kind of commanded this back half of the cycle in the back to back to back Super Bowl appearances and all that good stuff. But that'll be a good matchup nonetheless. I think to kind of round this off, we've talked about everything. This is going to be a super
yeah.
exciting postseason. We've kind of filled everybody in on insight with matchups, key players, stats, that sort of thing. I think the next kind of segment we could do briefly is what do you think is your favorite matchup in
Oh,
this first round, the wild card round? It could be either conference. What game are you most looking forward to tuning in here when we advance on Friday night?
I'll probably say the um, the Doc Smooth game, just because they played earlier this season actually, and Doc was able to get a 3 point win on them. So, and I wasn't able to tune into that one just because, if anyone knows, Doc likes to play as soon as advance hits in the middle of the night typically. So it was kind of one of those incognito games, but everyone was kind of woke up, saw that he won by three, and was like, "Oh shit, I guess Doc's
Yeah,
locked in." So yeah, I
yeah,
want to see that one again. Obviously, 3 point game means it was either person's game, and I think he had to come back because Smooth was up, and then a late touchdown winning interception happened in the red zone. So if it gets down to that tight, that means that this next matchup could be the same way. So I'm curious to see how that'll go. Yeah, so I'd probably say best matchup just because on the other ones, I've seen all the other people play each other, so I have somewhat of an idea what it'll look like. But in terms of that one, I
mhm.
really, like I said, it's just a mystery to me. And I've played both enough where I know they both can hoop. So, like, whether one or the other is down at a certain point, I wouldn't count them out at any point. So that's something you got to think about. And I can't wait
Yeah,
to. We need that on Showdown.
that'll definitely be interesting out of the AFC. I think my pick would. I think it'd go back to the Taco Rusty matchup. I think that'd be really fun to watch those guys duke it out. I think as I mentioned, Rusty's playing really good ball and
Hmm.
could kind of maybe finally get over the hump, beating a really really good user in Taco. Or Taco comes in and he locks in the postseason, or quote unquote locks in
Yeah.
and does his thing, and then goes back on another deep playoff run. But I think that's maybe the one I'm looking for most, especially out of the NFC, if we already covered Doc and Smooth. So, to wrap this up, do you have, we've already gone over the matchups and there really isn't
Yep.
any true underdogs. But if you had to pick one game that, let's say, you have somebody winning and it would shock the most shock value, of a team
Mhm.
winning out of these 6 matchups, what would that be? Who would it be? And kind of how do you think it'd go down?
Huh. Out of every potential that we have, I think,
Yeah, you could add in the potentials as well. I think
yeah,
that's definitely something you could throw in there. Yep.
yeah. I mean, there's a couple that could really be wild. Um, shit, I might go AF A1. If Hoff beats me, I'll be sick. I'm not losing to Hoff. I refuse. But A1, you never
You're losing
know.
to A1?
I
You're
mean,
losing to
shit.
A1 in round one?
Well, because you got to think about it, right? Like I said, my one L this season was me fucking around against Chaz. I'm down 17, and
Aren't you like
that's
the
all it
Super
takes
Bowl
sometimes.
favorite? Like
Probably,
there's a
but
bunch of predictions
hey,
of you and TJ in
yeah.
the
I mean, yeah. I
Super
mean,
Bowl. I mean, you can't be losing round one, but hey, that would be the
shit.
most shock value.
Yeah, no,
That
that's
would
what I'm saying.
definitely
Like,
be the most shock
because like
value.
I mean, I'm thinking realistically. Like, if you go run down all of them, Salmon,
Yeah,
if he lost to Browns, that already happened this season, so that's not
already
that
happened.
crazy to
Yep.
me. Smooth versus Doc, that was a toss up anyway, so that wouldn't be too crazy to me.
Right.
And then I think if Hoff were to beat me, I don't think people would be surprised. Like, we're gonna make it. If that end up happening, you'll see in the pickums that'll probably be 50-50.
Yeah.
But that being
Yeah.
said, like I said, I'm not losing Hoff. But A1, you never know. Like, I went crazy on him and beat him. So like, I if I lose, it'll if I lose and I played my best game, then A1 would have had to play a crazy game, and it would have been he earned
Yeah.
that win 100%. But at the same time,
Right.
I know that he can do it. Like, I am susceptible to the run at times. So if he can run for 300 on me like he did against who was that he just played against Chaz, that anything can happen. If he gets 3 user picks like he did against Chaz, that can also turn into a game. Um, and like another one from that, because at the same time, in terms of the NFC side, if you losing it also would be crazy to me, in my opinion. Like, I think we're on same trajectories in that, like, all we do is kind of let the game come to us. Our teams are pretty good, and then you just kind of play situational ball. So if you were to lose to either whoever ends up winning the 7, I think that'd be crazy. Um, but then other than that, I mean, Ed and DG have been going back and forth the past couple of seasons, so that's anyone's game. And then Taco Rusty. I think Rusty could lock in and get him. But at the same time, I mean, I wouldn't surprise me if Rusty can beat him if it's a locked in Taco. But again, it's hard to tell if Taco's been 100% because, but in the conversations I've had with him, he he's spent 10 hours making a CFB playbook the other day. So like, he might be on to the next game already. Who knows? So it wouldn't like
Yeah.
wow me. So yeah, I'd probably say if I lose, that'll wow me for sure. From a third person standpoint, I'll be sick. But hey, if they earn it, they earn it.
Yeah. I think I mean, you hit all the points there. I
Yeah, my bad.
completely agree with. I agree with most of your takes. I think kind of just circling back to my matchup, given it being the 2 and the 7,
Yeah.
I think that's the most realistic way we see the 2 seed fall. Like I think DG would have higher odds against me than A1 over you. So,
Mhm.
and I mean Hoff, I guess, Hoff is going to be a tough one if he keeps that spot, if A1 doesn't get the win versus Timbo. So I guess that could be a way that you get taken out. But I think realistically, the biggest upset would be maybe DG versus me. I'm not calling Rusty versus Taco
I mean, if we're being honest, if
necessarily.
Witness makes it to 7 and then beats you, that would be the biggest upset, even over
Well,
me.
that would be the biggest upset
Yeah.
for sure. 1,000% coming off a 45-13 victory
Yeah,
in week
exactly.
17,
Yeah.
and then him finding yeah, some inner will to take me down in the wild card. That would be ridiculous. But
Mhm.
realistically speaking, I think it
Yeah.
would be it would be DG taking me down, which would really suck because I want to have a deep postseason run to end
Yeah.
the cycle, but. And then I like Rusty going in. I don't know if we could call that an upset just because he is going to be 14-3. But if
Yep.
he were to take down Taco, I think that would turn some heads. With taking out Taco with the past few seasons he's had. So that would
Yeah.
be very interesting. But man, do you have anything else you kind of want to add to this postseason overview? That's about it on my
Uh,
end.
I mean, nothing crazy. Just really, I mean, shout out to everyone that made it, holding through, get that in the last segment. I know some people sleep at the end of this one or like say it don't matter, but end of the day, a ring's a ring. You make that joint, you gonna sit for the next hour, 3 months until the next championship, just be chilling, talking shit, and I'm hoping to get that one. Um, yeah. But yeah, salute to everybody. Appreciate y'all tuning in the pod. Yeah, I'd love to keep doing these going into next Madden for sure. Especially yeah, with we got the slogan already, the Portland's playoff pod or
Yeah.
playoff predictions, whatever the preview. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a good one for sure. But yeah, that's all for me, bro.
Yeah, I really appreciate you hopping on, man. It was great chopping it up,
Anytime.
talking about the league. We obviously didn't get into anything personal. This would just be a
Yeah,
just a Madden
we'll leave that
MSR.
to the pull up.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
leaving that. We don't want to step on anyone's toes.
yeah,
We're solely talking about MSR and what we're excited about in the league. And I think
yep,
this can grow into something. If I get more confident holding these things, doing these things, and it can grow into something more that I've
yep,
kind of talked about around the league of, just giving users more insight and then also pushing things out there online that could maybe get us more traction around the Madden Sim community. So, yeah, man, I appreciate you once again. Everybody tuning in. If you guys listened and watched along with us, I really appreciate you. I hope you guys were entertained. Hope you guys learned something new about the playoffs and going into this final season. Hope we filled you in as much as we can going into these matchups. It should be a extremely fun final postseason to cap off Madden 26, which has been an up and down cycle, but that's why I really wanted to hop on and
yep,
talk about it because I'm super excited about these matchups, man. It should be a really
yeah.
good one. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And like he said, I hope we can do this more in the future. But with that being said, that's gonna be it for me and Groovy, man. Everybody be safe. Tell somebody you love them, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace.